Doctor, my eyes have seen the years and the slow parade of tears that I cried.
I got to tell you, man.
Does this guy still tour?
Yeah. Jackson Brown? Yeah, I think he was
people
around
go?
not long ago. I love Jackson Brown.
Do you?
Yeah. You don't like him?
He's all right. I'm indifferent about him, you know?
Yeah.
He's got a couple, like, I love the Loadout.
Yeah,
you know?
Loadout Stay.
And the other songs are, like, always there, but it's always, like, dentist office music.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. I don't know if it's age, which I probably shouldn't admit to, but fuck it. We all want to get old, right?
Yeah.
I have become a huge fan of Sirius XM.
I love Sirius.
And I have the app, and I'm playing it, and I put on the bridge, which plays your mellow
yeah, like America, right? Like Bread.
Yeah.
Those
And
types.
then I listened to Life with John Mayer's station. And I was always a fan of the Jimmy Buffett station. I just haven't gone back there. I like the Tom Petty station. And sometimes Hair Nation I'll throw on. And every once in a while, Howard. I listen to Howard. I didn't get to hear Howard growing up, so because I was outside of New York City, but I couldn't get it. So I used to listen to Imus.
It was weird because he wasn't on in Buffalo either until like his later years. He wasn't really broadcast in Buffalo either, and I think in Toronto they couldn't broadcast him.
Oh, I don't
so
know.
It was weird. So like you'd watch him on E.
Yeah.
That's how you got to see Howard Stern.
Yeah. Well, I knew of Howard because you
we all
were
knew
in the
him.
shadow of New York City. I mean, I knew about him, and he was on WNBC when I was a kid. But
NBC.
yeah, but I was too little to even realize, and that was it. So it wasn't until I came up here that I could hear him on a regular basis. My roommate in college loved him, and but then I ended up working at CMF, and those guys weren't, so it didn't matter.
They were, anti.
So we were going to go one way, and then is this real?
Yes.
The news?
Breaking,
For real?
breaking news
For real.
from
This
the
is
world
true.
of college football. And Nick Saban, legendary coach for the Alabama Crimson Tide, won 5 national championships there, won one at LSU, also rebuilt the Michigan State program, is retiring at
72, I think.
72 years old.
Yeah.
So he's retiring right now.
Really?
Yeah, 17 seasons. I mean, just an amazing record. 292, 71, and 1 as a college head coach. Remember, he coached at
He only
Kent
did
State.
17 seasons in Alabama?
I don't know if he did 17 seasons at Alabama, but I know he did 17 seasons of coaching college football.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, 17 seasons at Alabama. You're right,
I think
yes.
it was 17 in Alabama.
17
right.
seasons in Alabama.
Yeah.
I remember when he got off the plane. It feels like it was yesterday. He's taking pictures with people's kids and stuff.
That's funny.
Because like the coach before him is a guy who's on the Bill staff right now. It's Mike Shula.
Okay.
And he couldn't
Yeah.
he couldn't get that program going to save his life. And but yeah, Saban, like, man, 6 national championships. God bless him. Good for him.
All right. So, and then in the NFL,
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, but moving to an advisory role allegedly with the team, my instant question. Yeah.
He was forced out. Because if you heard his press conference,
He didn't want to leave. He said, I still have a lot of
We're still
energy.
gonna talk about.
Yeah.
I think I'm good.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it didn't come down on a Monday. It came down on a Tuesday. It's like, whoa.
Yeah, moving to an advisory role. Now, there's a guy on the staff who was the assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, Clint Hurt, who's a Churchville Chilai guy.
Okay.
I think he went to Churchville Chilai High School. But I don't know what that means for him. I think they're saying to all the assistants, you're free to look for jobs.
Yeah. If they don't really have a guy waiting in the wings, that means they want to find somebody else.
So then immediately speculation is Dan Quinn or Jim Harbaugh for Seattle.
Okay.
Now, yesterday, the Titans with Mike Vrabel,
Yes.
he's gone. We know about the Falcons firing their head coach, Arthur Smith.
Yeah.
Washington let go of Ron Rivera. Look for him to be in Buffalo as a defensive coordinator.
No, I hope not.
Yeah. And then, I forgot about this. And Vegas Raiders fired Josh McDaniels.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know. Yeah,
So
I think Antonio Pierce is going to have that job.
the Chargers fired Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco, and the Panthers fired Frank Wright. So right now you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 openings in the NFL. That
so
seems
far,
like so far.
we're still waiting for the other shoe to drop in New England.
Right. Does that seem more than normal? I know there's 32 teams, but
usually it's about 5 or 6.
yeah, well, this is 7.
Here's the other thing too that you have to remember: the playoffs haven't started yet. There was talk that Mike Tomlin may be out in Pittsburgh too.
Really?
And the guy's never had a sub 500 season. So that's another opportunity that could come up. There was talk that Todd Bowles may be out in Tampa Bay, even though he got them to the playoffs.
Yeah.
So that's a possibility. So, I mean, you could have as many as 10 by the time, the playoffs end. And that's why I think a lot of people are seeing a lot of owners like Amy Adams in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Paul Allen's sister, I think her name is Judy Allen. They're starting to see, they're getting advice. The advice is, hey, look, right now you have so many openings. You got to get your guy now. So if you want to make a move, now's the time to make that move. And there's some hot property. The hot property mostly, though, however, is coaching in the playoffs. So everybody's got to kind of wait until these guys get eliminated.
Do you think, is there any chance that Saban decides to take an NFL job?
I don't think so. Saban's wife, the story about Saban was he had multiple opportunities to go back to the NFL, especially with the Giants.
Yeah.
And his wife wanted to be the first lady of Alabama. She loved being the first lady. Like, she wanted to be the. She was the first lady at LSU. When he went to Miami, she was out of the picture.
Okay.
And so, with the Dolphins, and so he went back to college. And the other thing too is, like, he couldn't pull the crap in the pros that he pulled in college. Like the whole "don't look me in the eye" thing. I'm your first. I'm the first lieutenant, and I'm the major, and you got to you can't look me in the eye. That type of stuff. You can't pull that in the pros. I think Saban's done. I don't think he's coming back to coaching. Period. I think he wants to enjoy the rest of his life.
It's amazing. Good for him. Now there's another change too. I've been watching, and we did this last night. We played a lot of the back and forth between Jimmy Kimmel, who responded in his monologue for 7 or 8 minutes on Aaron Rodgers, and then Aaron on the Pat McAfee show yesterday responded to Jimmy Kimmel and what he said. And now today it's announced that Aaron Rodgers is no longer part of the Pat McAfee show for the rest of this year.
Yes.
And he was on all last season during the playoffs, during January and everything. But they and he said, this is what Pat McAfee said, there will be a lot of people who are happy with that, myself included, to be honest with you. Wow. The way it ended, it got really loud. I'm happy that he's not going to be in my mentions going forward, which is great news. He was, originally scheduled to appear through the playoffs. And then he did say Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Famer, 4-time MVP, a massive piece of the NFL story. Whenever you go back and tell it, he will be a huge part of it. We're very lucky to get the chance to chat with him and learn from him. Some of his thoughts and opinions do piss off a lot of people. I'm pumped that will no longer be every single Wednesday of my life, which it has been the past few weeks. It seems odd for him to say that, doesn't it?
It is, but the thing about McAfee, first of all, I've never been a McAfee guy. I think McAfee's a blowhard. I've never been a fan of McAfee.
Yeah,
the guy was a punter. I mean, of all the things you could aspire to be in pro sports, I think head coach and assistant coach are above punter. Okay, he just happened to be a punter, and God bless him. Good for him.
He's a very confident guy.
He is, but his show is basically the JT the Brick Show, except he's an ex-jock.
Okay.
Right, so he's got and he bet on himself, and God bless him. He did really well at Barstool, and he built his own brand and everything else. But at the end of the day, there's really no substance to his show, except when Rodgers would come on. And when Rodgers would come on, Rodgers would say stuff that would sensationalize. And then,
this got you national.
Yeah.
I mean,
global
exposure.
Right. I mean, every time Rodgers came on, it didn't matter. Everybody else could pretty much in America could just turn their transmitters off. People wanted to hear what Rodgers had to say on McAfee's show. And McAfee never challenged Rodgers. It was like a softball tournament. He never questioned Rodgers. He let Rodgers say whatever he wants. But he got $83 million from ESPN.
Yeah. Who did? Pat?
McAfee.
Yeah.
So guess what?
Well, but last week
here.
he said he went after
Norby Williamson.
Yeah, he's called him a rat on the show. And then he was standing arm in arm with Norby's boss, direct report. But he said, I'm never going to act like people are out to get people. But throughout my life, there has definitely been a lot of people who've wanted to see me not do good because I'm an uber confident human being. I think that is part of the thing. I think that he comes off brash and loud. Mm-hmm. He was a soccer guy.
I got nothing against McAfee. No, I just don't think he's special.
But he was a soccer player and became a punter. Mm-hmm. And I think was dropped into a football locker room. And I think for him, it was kind of eye-opening. But That was it's an interesting.
But at some point, everybody, I don't want to say everybody sells their soul. That's not fair. But at some point, you have to serve somebody. And in McAfee's case, he didn't have to go to ESPN. He chose ESPN. ESPN needed McAfee. That's how much the tables have turned with, like, independent media.
Yeah.
He became so big that he could tell Barstool, no thanks, I don't need you.
Yeah.
Went on his own. He was on Mad Dog Sports Radio for a while. He's like, yeah, I'm too big for you guys. See ya. And then he goes to ESPN, like, I could fix the brand. I could make it bigger and better. And now he's realizing that nobody gets to tell ESPN what to do, including Pat McAfee, because that's a lot of money. ESPN, I mean, like, Disney's trying to sell ESPN to, like, whoever wants to buy it. Nobody wants to buy it. Nobody wants to buy it because it's a sinking ship right now. But at the same time, for $83 million, I'm sure there's some
Wait
clauses.
a second. Hang on. I don't know that it's a sinking
It's a sinking ship.
How?
It's just they're losing subscribers left and right. They're laying people off, but then they want to pay McAfee $83 million. Like, he's going to save the ship. Their biggest personality
Well, they're trying to go after
McAfee,
younger.
Their biggest personality after McAfee is Stephen A. Smith. Well, that's a problem. You want to know why? Because your biggest sport is football. He doesn't know a damn thing about it. He doesn't know how to talk about it. I mean, they had to bring Chris Russo to prop him up on Wednesdays. I mean, ESPN's a mess. They're a mess right now. They've really lost a lot of.
Now here's the thing. We talk about confidence. You talk with such confidence on this, I almost want to believe you. But I
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I don't know. And I'm not. Look, you know the sports stuff, and I'm just picking on you. So let's realize what we're doing.
No,
okay.
I know.
All right, because I feel like sometimes I say things, and then people go, "Well, he's really good of a dick to me." No, whatever.
Yeah.
So
No, you're cool. We good.
But where do you get that from? Are you seeing things? I guess I did hear about ESPN trying to sell.
Apple was considering buying ESPN.
Yeah.
ESPN's shareholders.
Why doesn't
were like,
Facebook buy it?
I don't know. Maybe Zuckerberg doesn't need it.
You can sit while we're. I'm sorry. We're just
Zuckerberg doesn't need ESPN. It
Yeah.
would just be like, if he brought ESPN on, it would actually be more of a liability for him than it would be. Like, he's got Meta. He doesn't need it.
Yeah.
Right? His whole thing is trying to take over the world. ESPN's not going to be part of that. It's a lost leader at this point. They used to be in the day of where you needed highlights and you couldn't watch every game. You could go to ESPN. Like, think about this. Monday Night Football. What made Monday Night Football so big was the halftime highlights. Like, if you're like our friend with like Rich the Ram fan, loved the Rams, but he couldn't watch the Rams every week, but he'd see like detailed highlights during halftime of Monday Night Football.
Right.
And that's what grew the sport. And so, and then ESPN was all highlights. And now everybody, they have.
I actually got to tell you something. I think FS1 is better.
They are.
Than ESPN.
They are. They have better talk shows.
I think
they have better content.
Who's the guy you like?
Colin Cowherd.
He's great.
He's fantastic.
I watch him. He's
and
great.
ESPN let him walk.
You know the show after him? What's that show?
First Things First with Nick Wright.
I think that Nick Wright he's fucking awesome.
He's very, let me
you
tell
don't like
no,
him.
listen to me.
You don't like him. You don't like him, and I know you don't like him.
So my old pal Brad
what.
Davies and him are great friends. Okay, they worked together in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Brad helped Nick get his start. My issue with Nick is that he's disingenuous. Okay, he'll double down on being wrong and triple down. When he's wrong.
Okay,
he's a very smart guy.
Yeah,
but
I like that.
But he gets so personal with certain things, and he takes a lot of liberties and leaps that he shouldn't. For example, he went after Aaron Rodgers for what Aaron Rodgers said about Jimmy Kimmel. It's like, time out, douchebag. Jimmy Kimmel went after Aaron. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers fan, and you know that. I can't stand Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
But Jimmy Kimmel went after Aaron Rodgers for months. And finally, Rodgers says one thing, which, by the way, has been widely speculated, that Jimmy Kimmel has been to Epstein Island. And all of a sudden,
hang on a second. Hold on. Where was it widely speculated?
Oh, dude, it's everywhere.
I've never seen his name on anything.
There's lists of people that have like the flight logs.
Yeah, but he was.
That doesn't mean that he touched anybody.
No, but he's never been in a flight log.
Okay,
he never was on the plane.
Well, because there's stories of him being on those flight logs.
But from
I don't know.
I'll just tell you this: like, I've never heard that, right? And I know guys who know Jimmy. I know guys who know Jimmy Fallon, but I also know guys who know Jimmy Kimmel.
I'm sure Jimmy Fallon knows Jimmy Kimmel.
Well, I'm okay, but either way. But so my thing was just I've never heard that. So his issue was everything, and what I thought Kimmel said, and I think it makes sense, and I understand it could be shit talking gone too far, right? We could say it that. That's how I thought I saw it originally. Kimmel's point was, I got guys who fact check everything because we will make jokes about things that were said or were done. We're not making them up. He goes, what he said, and Aaron tried to defend himself saying, all I said was, I hope you're not on the list. I never said you were a pedophile. But he's going, and so maybe that's a leap to say you're a pedophile. But come on, we're thinking
that's what he's trying to say.
Yes,
right.
So
that's what he's alluding to.
His point was, and Kimmel's point was, yes, I say a lot of stuff, and people go, well, you say stuff. Well, here's why. He goes, I say stuff about things that really happened, and I make jokes out of them. And that he goes, this is something that never happened, and you're basically calling me a pedophile. And he said, I'll take an apology and move on, and I don't think Aaron Rodgers will ever apologize because he's saying I didn't say
he
that.
won't.
I just said that.
But to bring it back to Nick Wright, though, Nick Wright he takes a lot of leaps, and he hopes that you don't fact check him. Okay, and if you fact check Nick Wright, a lot of times he's wrong. For example,
how do you know?
Tua Tagovailoa has never.
Wait, how do you know this?
Because I pay attention. Tua Tagovailoa has
Who
never
is trying
been
to fact check a guy on TV,
dude.
What do you do all day?
It's just I pay attention.
All right.
He's got guys feeding him stats all day and everything else. Of course, he's got nothing else to do.
All right.
The point is, though,
yes.
FS1, yes, let's backtrack, is better than ESPN.
I do. I think they do a better job. I really do.
I can't stand Nick Wright, but I think he does a great job.
I love Nick Wright for just that, and I would love to get him on this podcast for 10 minutes.
Let's see if we can get him on.
I would love that. You know somebody who knows him.
Yeah.
All right. And one last thing, and then we'll take a moment. We have a guest in the studio we'll get to, but you never told me about Fisher.
I didn't know Fisher was getting a hockey program until today.
2025, but their club team won the national championship, and now they're taking it in 2025. They'll have, I believe, a men's and women's team that'll play at the Rochester Ice Center, which is under new ownership in Parrington, over here, right, not far from where our studios are. And I think that's great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And so, do they now have 26 teams?
Yes, 20. They will have 26 sports. They had a wrestling program, everything else. Fisher's really
St. John Fisher University. Now,
doing well.
When will they move up?
Great question.
Because then you get scholarships and everything, and then where are you going to put everybody? You're running out of space.
I don't know if they'll ever move up.
A postage stamp over there.
I hope they move up. I don't know when or how they can.
Yeah,
I think maybe hockey is the way to do it. That's how RIT did it.
Yeah, that's what they built. The only program that's D1 at RIT is hockey.
Is men's and women's hockey.
The other teams are not.
No. Although I thought that RIT's lacrosse team was moving up at some point, but they're not.
I don't know. I don't know anything about that.
They're very talented. I mean, so I think maybe that's the tick because there's not a lot of colleges that have hockey programs. But I don't see Fisher moving up at any point at all. But I mean, Brockport's got a hockey program.
Yeah, Brockport, Geneseo. Geneseo, I believe, won the national Division III national, or they at least went to the Frozen Four. I don't want to speak that. Yeah, and Nazareth has a hockey team. So
Berkeley Breen used to do play-by-play for them, I think. Oh, no, I'm not joking. I think he did.
No, I'm sure.
All right, is somebody from Canada around here who broadcasts? We need somebody to do play-by-play. So, yeah.
Oh, that's.
By the way, real quick, we tease. I'm a Michigan fan.
Yes.
And they won the national championship the other night.
Yes.
And you know what's funny is that I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can't walk around with any Michigan championship gear. This isn't Michigan. We're in New York.
Oh, so what?
But it's
a college. Why do you think like that? Who cares what anybody? You wore a Michigan hat in here.
Yeah, I'm a Michigan fan, but I mean, it's like I feel weird, like
because you look like a homer.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, like the Yankees are,
or
the
a
Yankees
poser.
are like
I should say a poser, not a homer.
The Bills are our team. Like Syracuse is our team.
Syracuse, right here, buddy.
The
right
Sabres, as much as they drive me, everybody crazy, are our team. But I'm not like Michigan's like 2 lakes away. You know what I mean? I feel weird wearing Michigan championship gear, even though that was a clunky championship game they won.
Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody would give it any thought. And the people that do need to find something better to do with their time. All right, we're going to take a moment. Steve Ball's in the studio. We will talk to him next. But first, Daniel, Cobblestone on Main.
Oh, Billy. Great place to take a date.
Well,
great place to take your family.
All your culinary bases, or culinary, depending on how you like to say it, bases are covered in 2024. If you're looking for that casual dinner sitting at the bar, which I have done, it's an upscale bar, Cobblestone on Main. If you're looking for that intimate date night, like you like to go on with your wife, where the wine is paired perfectly with the cuisine.
That's what you want, Billy.
Cobblestone on Main. Looking to go out with friends for a couple of drinks and some shareables? Cobblestone on Main. They use the freshest, locally sourced ingredients, ensure that every dish is a masterpiece, from mouth-watering steak, perfectly grilled, or seafood dishes that capture the essence of the nearby lakes, even Lake Michigan. I don't know.
Well, there's Michigan, there's Huron, there's Superior.
Yeah.
Michigan, I think, touches like at least 3 of the 5.
And vegetarians, Cobblestone's chef captures the essence of innovative creations will delight your senses. That's what I was trying to say. And Cobblestone is more than just delicious food, craft cocktails, an extensive wine list that's been carefully curated, craft beers, and more. They'll get you in the spirits by sliding you some spirits. Cobblestone on Main for 2024. It's where exceptional flavors meet unforgettable experiences.